Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and it's time for some science, alright? The science that we're going to do is we're going to test out these third row umbral engrams, which are focused on intellect, discipline, mobility, recovery, resilience, and strength. I've mentioned them before where I tested them a little bit, where I picked up a couple of them or had a few drop to me from doing the contact public events, and in doing so I got some pretty terrible rolls. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to invest and buy 5 of them to make sure, for absolute certain, the science right here, right now, that these are terrible and not worth your time at all. I've actually fully upgraded my Umbral affinities here. You can see here I have Umbral Mastery 3, which actually reduces the cost by 50%. So I'm actually able to do so kind of efficiently. It takes a Trace Override, 125 Altered Element, and an Umbral Engram to do so, which is still a lot even after upgrading everything. So I'm going to pick up 5 of these though, so that way you don't have to waste your materials in doing so, unless it's actually worth your time. We'll see what do we get. I don't know for certain. I'm going to pick up 5 recovery ones because, as I've mentioned many times before, recovery is the most important stat regardless of Titan, Hunter, Warlock. In the Crucible, you need to have 100 recovery, and then from there you can go wherever you want. You can have strength, you can have mobility, you can have whatever it is, discipline that you like. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's pick up 5 of these. You can only do at max 5 per week. So let's pick them up. We got 2 recovery, 3 recovery, 4 recovery. And what we're looking for is a recovery drop of, the devs said that they drop at least a base of 10 in that respective stat. So I'm sure we'll get at least 10 recovery. If we got any less than that, it would be just absolutely absurd, right? But what I would like to have would be around 20 recovery and around 20 intellect. Let's turn these in here. We got a chest piece, we got boots, we got a gauntlet, and we got a helmet. So we got a pretty good, assortment of armor. The first one has 19 recovery and 2 intellect, so that actually could have been a pretty good roll. I'm not gonna lie. If that was 19 recovery and 15 intellect, that would have actually been a respectable roll and actually worth your time. I'm not gonna lie, that would have been not too bad. And thankfully, I just recently hit 1060, so that I can actually use that for infusion fuel. The next one has 12 recovery and 7 intellect. That is a terrible roll. Terrible. I'm gonna use that for infusion fuel. This one has 22 recovery and 2 intellect. So again, it's really good on the recovery side. 22 is insane, but the intellect is that's not good at all. These boots have 18 recovery and 2 intellect. They keep getting such low intellect stat. We got 11 recovery and 14 intellect. So unfortunately, it did have good recovery. Like, this is 22. This is actually kind of worth your time in getting yourself to maximum recovery for your Crucible builds. This actually could be worth your time. It is a pretty big investment, but if you are, for example, if you have been playing Warlock for a long time and you're like, oh, I want to play Titan. I see Lucky plays Titan, but I have such bad armor on my Titan. Honestly, you could use your materials to get yourself some God roll armor pretty fast. Like, if you have 5, 22 rolled pieces of recovery, that's insane. You could throw 5 intellect mods on all of those and it'd be great. I would highly recommend, though. I did recovery just as a test. You probably want to use intellect, though, if you're going to do this, because the intellect mod actually takes 5. So, for example, if I want to have an intellect mod, this takes 5 slots, whereas the recovery mod only takes 4. So if you were to focus your armor on intellect, you would be doing yourself a much better, service later on when slotting mods for that armor. So if you are going to do this, make sure to do intellect focused for Crucible purposes, that is. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if you do intellect focused, you actually get some decent recovery on each piece. And if you don't, feels bad. But if you do, that's awesome. And if you don't, you can also put a recovery mod on because it only costs 4, so it's not that bad. So keep that in mind. So my overall opinion, my overall score of this is an 8 out of 10. It's definitely not for me. Like, I already have, like, for example, this chest piece is 22 recovery and 2 intellect. Look at the chest piece I have here, 22 recovery and 20 intellect. Look at this gauntlet. It's 31 recovery and 23 intellect. That's because it has a mod on it. And this helmet has 23, 21. Like, I've been farming and grinding out for God roll armor for a very, very long time. So this is definitely not going to be very beneficial for me, myself, but for the majority of people out there, I'm going to say this is actually probably pretty useful for you. Not going to lie, these engrams could definitely do you well in getting some really, really strong builds for Crucible or PvE. So, there it is. Myth busted. People saying those are absolutely terrible. I'm going to give them 8 out of 10. And make sure to subscribe if you want more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Later.